Well, happy Friday to you, Messiah Church. Pastor Tami here. I typically use this time to share some reflection or encouragement or inspiration around our everyday lives. But today I want to use this time just a little bit differently. I want to share some information that I hope will be clarifying and reassuring about our upcoming annual giving campaign and our 3-year capital campaign. Now, let me say just a little bit about this Sunday before we begin. This Sunday, we're kicking off a new sermon series. It's a 3-week sermon series in support of our annual giving campaign, and it's entitled All In, with a sermon this week entitled The Risk Worth Taking. God went all in for us when he gave us his son, Jesus Christ. And through that gift, we are given freedom of a new and abundant life. And so we're invited to be a part of what God is doing in and for the world. We're invited to go all in for God so that the world can see and know the love and grace of God that is found in Jesus Christ. It's also our annual Servant Appreciation Sunday. It's the day that we get to say thank you to all of you for all that you do to make Messiah Church the warm and vibrant faith community that it is. So after each worship service, you're invited across the way to Heritage Hall, where you can enjoy an iced coffee bar, our regular delicious Messiah coffee, if that's your preference, and a Dunkin' Donut. We look forward to saying thank you, to every single one of you in person this Sunday. Now, let's just talk a little bit more about our annual giving campaign and our 3-year capital campaign. So how did the conversation begin to go into this endeavor of a 3-year capital campaign? Well, last summer, the servant steering team was looking at our annual budget, and we realized that our only debt that we have as a church is our mortgage, which is $441,000 at this point. And if we pay off that mortgage, we are completely debt-free. And in addition to that, we have freed up about $92,000 in our operational budget each year. And those dollars could then be deployed for mission and ministry in the world. And so that was our first conversation, is to pay off that mortgage. And that is our first commitment in this capital campaign. But then we also began looking around at what other things are needed or could we do around our church. And there's some structural things that need attention. Things like the flat roof above the office area, that front part of the church, it's leaking and it's in need of repair. And then there's the windows. There's 3 in Heritage Hall and 3 directly below in the Kids Street area that are the original windows, I believe, and they are rusting out and they are not energy efficient. And so those are the 2 things that rose to the top of the list for the physical space, for the building spaces. And then we started looking at some of our physical spaces, and knowing that we have young families that walk through the doors of Messiah Church every Sunday. How can we make our physical spaces more inviting to those young families? And so we're looking at our Kids Street area and our youth area and our atrium, that first impression when families walk through the door. So you might recall in December of 2024, we did a survey and 119 of you replied. And that is a great return on a survey. And these projects that I just shared with you are the ones that rose to the top on your list of things that you would like to see done through this capital campaign. So what has changed since last summer and last fall? Well, a lot, right? Our world is in uncertain and unstable times. But what we know, even in those kind of times, that God is not uncertain and God is not unstable. God is always faithful. And so in a conversation back in March, the servant steering team made the prayerful discernment decision to continue with our capital campaign and our annual giving campaign. Now, let me say a little bit more about our annual giving campaign. This one is called All In. You're going to be getting 2 cards in the mail the week of May 11th. This one is All In. It is our annual giving campaign. This is the gifts that you give, the estimated giving to support our annual budget at the church. So this should be your first and most important pledge. We believe that Messiah Church is positioned for growth and to continue its strong missional outreach in the world. So it's most important that we have a strongly supported annual operating budget. So I ask that this, all in, be your first and foremost consideration. And then our capital campaign looks like this, and it's called Together for Tomorrow. This is in addition, this is above and beyond your annual giving. This campaign supports those long-term goals, those 3-year goals that we just talked about. Now, the safety net, if you will, around this is that we will not be taking out any for future loans to complete any of the work in the capital campaign. We will only start the work once the funds have been received in-house, so to assure that we do not go into further debt. And the first and foremost goal of this campaign is to pay off the mortgage. So on Sunday, May 18th, you're going to have the opportunity to return both of these cards and dedicate your gifts to God. We're actually going to bring the whole Messiah Church family together that day for a worship service at 9:30 as we dedicate our gifts together. And then we're going to go across the hall and we're going to have a celebratory brunch together, celebrating that all that God has given us, all of the blessings, both as individuals and as a faith community. So until then, I invite you to be in prayer with me, asking God, what is mine to do? You know, as followers of Christ, in uncertain times, we are called to continue to give, not just simply to fill a church budget, but Jesus said, give, and it will be given back to you. Now, this doesn't mean that every dollar you give will be returned to you in some way, shape, or form. But what Jesus did say is that there is something about giving that blesses the giver. Giving, it has this sense of purpose and joy in our lives. You know, researchers have actually found that giving has a positive effect on our bodies. It decreases our anxiety, it lowers our blood pressure and our heart rate, and it gives us a better sense of self-esteem. It is more blessed to give than to receive. And simply put, we were created for this. Sharing our blessings is one of the ways that we grow as a disciple and a follower of Jesus Christ in gratitude for all that God has given to us, as we use a portion of our gifts to further God's work, to build the kingdom of God here on earth. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for your prayerful discernment in support of Messiah's annual operating budget and our 3-year capital campaign. Let me assure you that every penny provided will be put to work so that we can continue to serve as the hands and feet of Jesus, touching and changing lives. Together, we are Messiah Church, and I am proud to be one of your pastors. So I hope to see you Sunday or sooner. And in the meanwhile, take care and God bless.